News 4 Jax starts right now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news out of Lake City, where the National Transportation Safety Board is in the beginning phase of a deadly plane crash investigation. Good afternoon. This morning, a single-engine Piper PA-32 crashed into a Lake City home while the homeowners and their children were inside. Cell phone video recorded by a neighbor shows the intensity of the smoke and flames following the crash. News 4 Jax reporter Eric Avanier joins us live from the crash site with more details into what happened and what one man did after he realized the plane crashed into his neighbor's house. Eric.
Yes, well, as you can see behind me, NTSB investigators are still here on scene. In fact, they have just loaded a portion of that Piper PA-32 aircraft onto this flatbed here. Of course, they will eventually haul this airplane or what's left of it off to a nearby airport where they will go over the aircraft piece by piece to try and figure out what went wrong. Now, investigators here at the scene tell me that the female pilot of this aircraft had just taken off from an air park right across the street from this subdivision when something went wrong. They believe that she was headed to Texas. At least that is where she lives, and that is the information that we're getting so far. Now, shortly before 10 a.m., Columbia County 911 dispatch began receiving multiple calls about a plane crashing into a home. When firefighters arrived, the aircraft and part of the home was still engulfed in flames. The family inside the home were not injured. NTSB officials confirmed that only the pilot was on board the plane, and she died in the crash. According to a man who heard the crash and ran to his neighbor's house to help, the plane hit the garage.
I was on the computer and I just heard a big crash. I ran out the back door and saw all the flames coming up from right over the fence in the backyard, and I ran over and saw the plane on fire, and it was just a ball of fire. I knew whoever was in it was dead. There was no chance that they could have survived. It was just, you couldn't even see inside of it. It was all just a ball of flames. You had to have a full tank of gas, I would imagine.
Now, that pilot's body was taken to the medical examiner's office in Jacksonville. So far, her identity has not been released. Reporting live in Lake City, Eric Avanier, Channel 4, the local station.
Eric, is there a chance we might also learn tonight how the plane crashed?
No, there's a chance that we will not know what caused this plane to crash. You have to realize that these NTSB crash investigations they can range from 1 year up to 24 months. And look, I mean, when you look at the extent of this damage and you see how this plane is in so many different pieces, they've still got the tail end section that they still have to load onto this flatbed. When you see how much that is entailed there is a lot to investigate. So we could be looking at up to possibly 2 years before we learn what happened here.
Thank you. Again, that's Eric Avanier reporting live from Lake City. Thank you, Eric. An early morning plane crash claimed the life of the pilot. Following takeoff, the aircraft hit a house on Creekside subdivision in Lake City. A mother was inside with her son when it happened in their home. This is new cell phone video. Take a look at that. That is just remarkable video of the scene from the crash. NTSB says the pilot was the only person on the plane when it crashed. News 4 Jax reporter Eric Avanier is live at the scene with details. Eric, neighbors immediately scrambled to help the family inside that home as well.
Yes, they did. I do want to tell you that what was left of that mangled plane has been hauled out of here a couple of hours ago. However, damage to the home, this home here that plane crashed into, that damage is still visible. Now, NTSB investigators tell me the female pilot had just taken off from Canyon Creek Air Park, located just across the street from this subdivision that I'm in right now. And for some reason, right after takeoff, something went terribly wrong, and that plane crashed right into this home.
My gosh, call again 911.
They're already on the way.
But this neighbor's a fire department.
Yeah, they're out of town right now.
Oh.
Anxiety and frustration as neighbors within this Creekside subdivision of Lake City frantically try to get help following a fiery plane crash into this home.
The fire department is the one that needs to be here. My God, where's the fire department?
The homeowner, who didn't want to be identified, says she was looking out her window and saw the plane take off. She says seconds after watching the plane take off, she walked away from the window when suddenly...
The next thing I know, I heard a loud explosion, and I turned back to look at the window, and I just see flames.
Neighbor Aaron Gomez lives 2 houses down and says his house shook when the plane crashed into his neighbor's home.
Yeah, I was worried about the family in the house. I thought like the plane was gonna like still explode and stuff.
Fortunately, the homeowner and her son evacuated the house.
I didn't know, exactly what had happened, what was happening. I just knew we had to get out of the house.
Her neighbor, Daniel Kosciow, seen in this picture, ran over and thought he could help the pilot, but...
I knew whoever was in it was dead. There was no chance that they could have survived. It was just, you couldn't even see inside of it. It was all just a ball of flames. You had to have a full tank of gas, I would imagine.
NTSB investigators say the Piper PA-32 took off from the Canyon Creek Air Park across the street from the Creekside subdivision and was likely headed to Texas, where they say the pilot lived. But something went horribly wrong and the plane crashed. As crews loaded the wreckage onto a flatbed, investigators say it may take up to 2 years before they figure out why the plane crashed. Back here live, the pilot's body was in fact taken to the medical examiner's office in Jacksonville. We are working behind the scenes to learn her identity. Reporting live in Lake City, Eric Avignon, Channel 4, the local station.